Why do we even use music in TV, video games, and film? Let's take a look. Let's start with music theory. I'm going to use a piano keyboard to visualize. Here, you see a collection of 12 individual tones. Each of these notes are assigned a note name from the first 7 letters of the alphabet. Going directly to the next note, like from C to C sharp, is a half step, while going from C to D would be a whole step. These symbols, sharps and flats, are how we notate the tones in between the letters. All the white keys are the respective letters in the alphabet, while the black keys are a sharp or a flat. A sharp will raise the tone a half step, while a flat lowers the tone a half step. A natural simply returns the note to its unmodified state. So, for example, if you were to see this note, C sharp, notated on the staff, you would play this note. Now, this is the real important part. Scales. It's the foundation of how we really build songs. You can sort of think of music as the space and relationship between the notes, rather than just the notes themselves. The space is what makes the intervals, separated by only half a step, have such a different quality. Now, on each note of a scale, a chord is built. A basic chord, or a triad, consists of 3 notes, a root, a third, and a fifth. Like the C major chord. From the basic triad, you can add on a 7th, 9th, 11th, and so on. The intervals, or distances between these notes, are what make each chord sound different. The main types we use are major, minor, augmented, and diminished. Now, the even more important part. Chord progression. Chord progression forms the basic for how music sounds, how it takes you on a journey. Every time a piece of music you've heard has a major shift, that's an unexpected chord change. It's all part of the progression. There's no one formula for making a chord progression sound good, but there are standard ways to transition to and from chords. The way you can arrange these differences, these chords, quite literally infinite. But what's important to understand is that these progressions form their own journey in the music. The other big part of chord progressions is understanding the importance of resolutions at the end of a section of music. Called cadences, there's quite a few different ones, but the most important center around the relationship between the 5th and the 1st chords on any given scale. Here's a great chart of some of the most common cadences. Now, the basic understanding of music theory. Let's talk about... Succession is widely regarded as one of the best shows currently on television, and it's definitely one of my favorites, but that's not what's really important here. Succession follows an uber-rich family who owns a legacy media company, and the main story of the show centers around who will be succeeding the agent Logan Roy. Nearly all of the characters are out-of-touch one-percenters, and the music reflects this through classical-type music, which reflects the association most people hold with that sort of lifestyle that the Roys are living. However, throughout the show's 3 seasons, with the 4th currently airing, almost no character has a theme. Composed by Nicholas Britell, the music is largely a fusion of classical music, but has interesting fusion with hip-hop elements, which crafts a track recognizably unique to Succession. Perhaps the easiest character to see this fusion with is Kendall Roy. He was long seen as the up-and-coming next CEO of the company, Waystar Royco, his character centering around him seeming hip and cool, but in reality he's a cringe, out-of-touch, spoiled moron. His first scene is the antithesis of large parts of his character. He's badly singing along to a hip-hop song with headphones while being chauffeured. When talking to a large audience, he clearly specifically uses language like this.
HQ, the hashtag resistance. What up? How we feeling?
I'm looking for pussy like a fucking techno Gatsby.
Panic Meister, cooking up his sweaty spaghetti.
I'll throw in a blowjob. I'll throw in a reach around. Hell, I'll even cup his balls. Yeah.
But what does this have to do with music? Often with Kendall, you'll see more of the hip-hop elements. Britell's consistent with this in Season 4's 5th episode's opening scene, which is a parallel to his Season 1 introduction. Kendall's younger brother, Roman, goes a step further. He has his own theme, dubbed Roman's Beat, Hearts. This again This again accentuates the divide not only between the old and the new, but also serves to demonstrate the divide between these people at the top and everyone else. So this score underlines the story, but without the use of many leitmotifs. So how can you take this further and have the score create and reflect the atmosphere of the world? Let's let Dune answer that question. Dune is a sci-fi epic by director Denis Villeneuve, based upon the book series by author Frank Herbert. Once considered unadaptable, Villeneuve was able to largely capture the vast, complex, and otherworldly nature of Dune, one of the biggest parts of this being the score and sound design. Scored by Hans Zimmer, no stranger to well-renowned and epic soundtracks, he approached Dune with a new mindset, making the music feel as if it would be from these worlds. His approach to creating these sounds are one of the most interesting aspects of the score. In an interview with Vanity Fair, Zimmer goes into great detail of the minutiae of the process of making instruments sound and act as other instruments, or even creating whole new one-off instruments. Now, what can music theory tell us about the score? This is a lot harder to decipher for Dune specifically because of the unusual nature of the score in general. The score, first off, has no general set key, but the most often used across the score is something that doesn't really exist in common music theory. Some have called it a double harmonic minor scale, essentially compounding the harmonic minor scale, which sounds like this. By simply using instruments new ways, Zimmer makes the music of these other worlds come alive, not just accompanying the movie, but becoming an integral part of it. Now, the sound design of Dune is also rather unique. The sound designers approached Dune in a similar way that Zimmer did the score, like here. The ornithopters use the purr of a cat to make them feel a lot different than our Earth-based helicopters. Now, if you want to talk about creating a vibe of a world, you have to talk about Minecraft. Minecraft is a sandbox game centered around the creativity of the player. There have been countless video essays on the loneliness and ambience of Minecraft and the nostalgia many feel from this game's history. The soundtrack is a huge part for that. The soundtrack for Minecraft has an interesting story to accompany its unique sound. Composed by German songwriter Daniel Rosenfeld, also known as C418, 2009, during the very first stages of Minecraft's development, his music has been a cornerstone in the nostalgia many feel coming back to Minecraft again and again over the years. The original idea for Minecraft's music was to have a unique music for each biome the game had. However, this proved too challenging as the player can move from each biome very quickly, making transitioning from one song to the next at any given point in any song extremely difficult. So, C418's next move was to compose something that was very different from most video game soundtracks. Piano-filled, disjointed melodies, and radiating ambience and atmosphere, Minecraft's soundtrack was one that became an almost instant classic. This music stuck with the game, with only a few tracks being added over the next few years, which would remain almost completely unchanged until the summer of 2020, where the Nether update, an update to Minecraft's hellish-like dimension, released with new music from new composer Lena Raine. Her tracks take plenty of notes from C418's previous music, but were much more eerie and foreboding in nature, a fitting melody for the darkness of the dimension. Then again, for the Caves and Cliffs update, and the Wild update, with an additional song from Samuel Aberg, she composed 13 new tracks in addition to the 4 from the Nether update. Most of these tracks followed C418's style of ambient synths and a calming mood with piano melodies laced throughout. But they were different enough to give a new, fresh style to Minecraft's music. Now, for Minecraft's most recent update, the Trails and Tales update, releasing sometime in 2023, we have a new composer to add to the mix, Aaron Sheroff. He's thus far composed 5 tracks for this update, yet again following C418 style, very much in line with the Minecraft identity. His songs are much safer, but still have interesting musical notes. There's a few of those interesting musical ideas, but they're all very brief in execution, so it does make you wonder what could have been. But even pondering that brings up another question. Would that music then fit in with the identity of Minecraft? Or would it transform the music? Or what it transforms what the music gives to Minecraft. So we've learned what music gives to atmosphere and ambience and how it can underscore story. So the question of what a product will look like without the music can be applied to almost any medium that utilizes visual storytelling. Taking a powerful score away can transform a story or environment to be less impactful. Music doesn't just help a story become more of itself, but it tells its own story. That's all. Thanks for watching.